Bethany in training has her visiting Rotary.
Today we have visiting Clay Lucas from the Lake Hickory.
Sounds like you got it down pat to me. Do we have any guests of Rotarians in the room? Nobody brought a friend today. All right. Do we have any announcements? Yeah. Nobody. Bruce said nobody's got $1 today. Susan?
Thank you. I do have $1. I'm asking you to help us out. I'm looking for an RN who will work part-time, and so I'm telling everybody, if anybody knows someone who would like to do some home care and work for home instead for 15 to 20 hours a week, please have them call me. Thank you. And I'll give you $1.
Thank you. Do we have any other announcements? All right. Gonna be a quick meeting today. If you please notice on the tables, we have a couple of things. One, Terry Livingston has been proposed for membership, and she's on the tables today. She'll be on this week and next week. And also, there should be some sign-up sheets on the table for our awards banquet on Thursday, the 23rd, and it'll be $15, and guests are welcome. But if you could sign up if you're going to be able to attend, so we can give the club a general idea of how many folks we think we're going to have in attendance. Also, Lynn, are you still taking matching? Lynn, still taking matching?
It would have to be in the next day or two.
Let Lynn know if anybody else still wants to get Paul Harris Fellow. If you're close, the club will match up to $200. Please let her know here in the next 24 hours to make that happen. Also, dues, if you haven't, please make good on your dues and pay those, as well as we did still have a few idle ads that were outstanding. If folks could take care of those before we wrap up the year, that'd be great. Wanted to give an update. We heard Debbie Major's son, who we had mentioned previously, had a fall in Charlotte, has had a second surgery. Is that right, Mark? He's had another surgery, and he's got at least 2 more to go. So hopefully he's on the mend there. Sounds like he's still got a long road, but if you could just keep Debbie and her son and their family in your prayers. Got a couple of thank you notes here. One is from Jenny White. We were on the back of the t-shirts for their color run at their school, and we helped purchase those t-shirts, so she sent a thank you to us. Also have one from President nominee John Rambo for our donation for the Rug Bug Theater. And I will leave that up here if you want to read that, but John's thanking for our contribution to that. Also, we have one from Amber Clausen it's not a thank you, she sent that already, but I wanted to bring up, she sent out a press release from the Historical Association talking about the Blue Anne Fay and the Miracle of Hickory opens at the Hickory History Center, but right there in the opening paragraph says the Hickory Rotary Club sponsored, so she gave us some props for that donation. We appreciate that. She also sent an invitation for Friday, June 24th, beginning at 5:30. They are having a reception, exclusive premiere of the documentary Miracle, and as well you can meet the authors of the companion book written by some CVCC instructors. So we have to RSVP by June 7th, and we'll let folks do that individually. She also has a post-it note saying she's going to have a special event for Rotarians on July 23rd. And as you remember, that's something that we also donated to. So it was nice of her to reach out to us in that way. And I think that's all I have. Sunshine Committee reporter, as he has lobbied me today, Rotary Guys, Girls, and Giggles, John Watts.
Thank you, President Mark. Well, Bob Schottner very eloquently prayed for all the folks that we needed to know about today, so I won't repeat them. I will mention one very significant individual who passed away this week in Hickory, David Harden. And I suspect that most of you ran across his path over the years he was here. Quite an outstanding young man. Congratulations to Andrea. Hopefully she's going to be excited about that, and congratulations to Mick about that as well. I think that deserves a big applause. I thought that I might share with you just a couple of quotes that are significant in this time of the year when we have speakers at colleges and high schools for graduation, and they usually end up trying to quote somebody who was famous or did something worthwhile. So I just thought I'd share a couple of those with you. Albert Einstein said, "I'm enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world." Lily Tomlin said, "No matter how cynical you get, it is impossible to keep up." Takes a while. Mark Twain said, "It takes a little time to accept and realize the fact that while you've been growing old, your friends have not been standing still." Now, I'm going to stop for just a second because I almost forgot. Clarence, you should have reminded me. We got birthdays. June 5th, Mike Johnson. June 10th, Joe Britt. June 11th, Stan Bumgarner. So, if you see any of those folks today, say happy birthday to them. Thomas Jefferson said, "I am not of the school which teaches us to look back for wisdom to our forefathers. From the wonderful advances in science and the arts which I have lived to see, I'm sure we are wiser than our fathers, and that our sons will be wiser than we are." That's going out there. And in rebuttal, Woody Allen said, "More than any time in history, mankind faces a crossroads. One path leads to despair and utter hopelessness, the other to total extinction. Let us pray that we have the wisdom to choose."
Thank you, John. Did want to mention Charles Snipes brought in a book, or the Rotary Club. It's got the pictures and all the members in here, and it's from early 70s, the year before he was president. And there is a picture of George Blackwelder in here. I'm going to leave this up here. It is Charles's, so please be careful with it, but it's kind of neat to flick through there. And if you have the time after the meeting to look through it, it's really neat. Two things I did forget to mention is for honorary Paul Harris Fellows, Cheryl Ray's and Debbie Major's name keep coming up, but I want to just let everybody know they have already been honored in that way, and you can only do that one time. So appreciate all the suggestions on them, but if we're not going to do them, and that's why we're not going to do them, they've already been done. And without further ado, our interim city manager with her first public speech in her new office.
I'm gonna stand over by the slideshow there because, you know, we got the bottom of the barrel today and couldn't find anybody to do this PowerPoint, but it's so much fun to talk about these projects that I'll just do it. So, hang on just a second. Okay. So, all right, well, thank you for participating in the work that we're doing at the city. So, I mean, all of this is really as a result of many of you sitting out here, either Rotary, Kiwanis, there's just a ton of private participation, but you know, I was thinking, just sitting here, there's probably been a number of years when we could not talk about major projects the way we're going to talk about them today. And so that's exciting stuff, because we really are able to do some work related to the bond program, and then related to just finally being able to tap into some of our public projects that have been on hold due to the recession, due to the slow economy, and we've all experienced that, but today we can share with you all the things. So in the next 24 to 48 months, you're going to see a lot of activity. Here we go. All right, the bond programs, just real quickly, and last week I even checked off and how many of you are bond commission members, and, so Jennifer here today, and if I'll leave somebody out, Mike Thomas, Frank Young, Cliff Moon there, I had it all organized last week. Susan and thank you, if you are one and I've missed you, Susan and Suzanne, very good, there are a few others. So so the first process is happening next Monday. We're interviewing, that means the city staff and the bond commission subcommittee members are interviewing 6 finalist teams. These teams are from all over North Carolina. These are primarily engineering companies that have partnered with an architect or a landscape architect. These are firms to do city walk design. And so we have had 10 submittals. It was very competitive, and we've got 6 to go through Monday. And then this committee will help staff sort of narrow that list down, figure out the right one, and then we start negotiating the contract for design. That contract goes to council, as you can see, in August, and we'll get started. So that design process will take a good, they're telling us a year. So it's a long, involved process. You can think about where that project is from Lenore Ryan Boulevard to the downtown. We've got the railroad, we've got some other things to negotiate through, but that's really where we're headed. So the City Walk is moving fast. 321 gateways. So of the 5 gateways, these 2 are going first. They are at Clement. So Mark will be happy about this, and Charles, because the Clement 321 gateway will be somewhat baseball inspired. They've been patiently waiting for this project. So that 321 gateway at Clement will have, it's welcome to Hickory, some sort of design, and would be part of the bond project process. That is now, the RFQ is out, of course the same interview selection. Council looks at that in August, moving forward on that. The second one is Highway 70 at 321, so another important gateway. And then finally, Riverwalk is tailed right behind all those, and we'll do an RFQ in the next few weeks. We will do those interviews, hopefully with some really great candidates in September, and a contract awarded in October. So beyond that, there are more bond projects. Those are just the first 5, but there's still the LR Boulevard I-40 gateway, but because DOT is doing some work at that interchange in the next 2 years, that one is, we're going to work with them and time that so our work doesn't have to be undone to deal with that gateway. And then of course just Lenore Ryan Boulevard streetscape will come after that in 2017-18, and you can see the rest. Riverwalk. The P3 stands for public-private partnership, and that's sort of the activity space at the base of the 321 bridge and where the water treatment plant is, and that concept and that sort of venue that we would want to plan that's a little further out. But all of those are the bond projects. 1764 is moving forward. City Council just approved contract to go into installing the sewer, doing a roadway design, and the associated landscaping. So part of what this is some pre-planning and really just some sprucing up of that property. As you recall, that's the intersection of Starktown and Robinwood Road, south of the community college, and that's a 168-acre tract of land that will be developed for a Class A advanced manufacturing business park. And it needs to look, with some berming and some landscaping, more like a business park, so that when it's shown, and the EDC, Scott Millar, would show that property, it doesn't look just like the beautiful cow pasture it is, but it can transition. These companies can see the vision. All right, so that's that. All right, you would want to ask me about the financing, and so here's and this is all PowerPoint we've given to City Council and to the Bond Commission, so I'm sorry if you've seen it before, but we anticipate those 2 bond issues. We can't draw down the funds until we have bids in hand. So we have to, for construction. So we have to do design, which will be, as I said, about a year. So this time next year, we will be ready to have the projects go out for bid for construction. When we get those bids in hand, we select the contractor. Then we go and talk to the local government commission, borrow the money, bonds are sold. So the tax that's related to that then needs to coincide with more of a July 18, so not even 17. We're really looking at 2 years out before the taxes change to relate to the bond implementation. We want to borrow this one time, or maybe twice at the most, because it's expensive to go through that process. So we need to bring enough projects to the first ask so that we borrow what we need, and then the remainder comes after that, which is those dates there. They're really 2020-ish for the second part. All right, this is, so these are all the projects tied to the general fund or to your clubs and the public-private partnerships. And so Lackey Project, you remember that? That's a $5 to $7 million investment. Where we are today is that they have hired Turner Smangler Walsh, which is an landscape architecture firm out of Atlanta. They've done some amazing work in Atlanta, including some greenway work and some park space. So that was a selection by the Lackey family. They estimate, we have a cost in this project to upgrade the parking lot and of course deal with the amenities that are there and making those a little better. Just a public restroom, a fishing pier, a canoe launch, and all of that. And then we have some ongoing maintenance and operations that will result as, because the park is improved. But City Council did take action Tuesday night to appoint 3 members to the 7-member Conservancy Board, because this park will transform into a public-private partnership where, because of the donation, the Lackey family will have 4 members of their 4 people that they select on this board that will govern the use of the facility, and the City Council will put 3 members on. They've appointed Frank Young, Burt Wyatt, and Meg Lale. So that's happening. Here's the design. You might recall, this is the lake house. This is a 8,000 square foot meeting space and facility, very beautiful open air sort of design as it's shaping up, an amphitheater down to a floating performance dock, so you could have concerts that project back up. Of course, the boat dock, and the conservatory will be in a future phase. That's the indoor-outdoor garden space, and that'll be less available to the public because it's a smaller scale, more by appointment or by event. The lake house will be more open to the public. Kiwanis Splash Pad. If you haven't been out to Kiwanis Park in the last 3 weeks, you should drive by. So they are turning dirt. The company is in. We should be finished by the end of June with the splash pad. This is a regional splash pad. If you have grandkids or kids, just neighbors, this is the place they're going to want to go this summer. Our Kiwanis Club locally has raised $100,000. The city put in $200,000, and we're moving through the permit process. And here's what it looks like. So it has 22 spray features. And there's 3 sections related to the age of the child. So little kids aren't being run over by the big kids. They're in 3 sort of pods there. But, this is like, we had a garden hose, maybe the slip and slide, but this is what these kids have today. So I had to have the sprinkler. You had the sprinkler. It's all stepped up now. Maybe you didn't even have slip and slide. Yeah. So there's a better view of it. So
Where is this? Where?
sorry. So Kiwanis Park is over off of Glen Orion Boulevard as you tuck back in. It's where the Zara Baker Park is. So back in there with the baseball field, Zara Baker Park, and this goes right next door to that, in that same acreage. Bruce Meisner Park, formerly known as Cloninger Mill Park. This is 63 acres right at the corner of Cloninger Mill and 127, and we're working on project design right now. We've received $900,000 from Outward Bound to help jumpstart the project, and so that's moving forward. It'll take about $3.9 million to build the park the way the plan has been developed, and Parks and Recreation Commission worked on that plan. There will be lots of bike trails, sort of mountain biking. We don't have water access to that park or to the lake from that park. That's a protected area due to the sensitivity of that environment there right at the water's edge. So, but it'll have lots of trails and actually this is fun too. So it has like this bike track. So if you want to bring your grandchild or child learn to ride a bike, it's going to have this track that's there to do that. So that'll be nice as well. It's hard to see that from here. That's the general site plan, but 127 sits up here. So, City Park. City Park is over, this is where one would play tennis, over off of 12th Street Drive, northeast. So here's another partnership. The Greater Hickory Tennis Association is raising $125,000 in addition to the amount of monies that we would match, for a total estimate of $773,000 to renovate this park. So additional tennis courts, also lots more parking. But if you recall, that park sits adjacent to the Geithner Park, Lackey Project, the Riverwalk, and so we anticipate we need this additional parking, so we're sort of adding even more than we would have normally. So that one's moving forward. Here's a layout of it. So existing tennis courts, you can see the new additions here and here, and then a much expanded parking lot. There's a restroom facility that'll get redesigned. I think it's very old and needs an upgrade. And then of course some of this will connect over to the roadway. This is the sort of a trail that connects to the roadway that goes to the Riverwalk. All right, Hickory Optimist Park. I should have Mac doing this presentation, but he wasn't available. All right, so Mac McLeod, our Parks and Rec Director. So Hickory Optimist Park is on 2nd Avenue, coming into town. And it is an older facility, an older park facility. It really backs right up to the Green Park neighborhood and to specifically a Habitat subdivision, which is very important because it has a connection into that neighborhood from the park itself, a little greenway trail. But we found some community development block grant money that works for this particular site, and we've been working over a 2-year period to improve this park. So this is a outdoor fitness center here, this picture, but there's going to be, of course, the paved walking trail, picnic shelter, restroom, and community room. And then the tennis courts that are there are very antiquated, not used, and so the trend is pickleball, so we understand that pickleball is the thing, and so that's what's going to happen. So this photo is just showing you that those tennis courts will be converted to pickleball. And that project's 70% complete, and it's a real asset to that neighborhood. And if you're a pickleball player, then you should just go, because it'll be your outdoor opportunity. So. I wish. Does anybody play pickleball? Somebody. Would you say what it is? Because I would probably botch that.
On a smaller court, like a tennis court.
Okay.
But you use wooden paddles and a plastic ball, and it's similar to tennis, but
it's ping pong and tennis. Yeah, it's like a
like ping pong, badminton, and tennis at a tennis court level scale, something like that. Yeah, 4 players, right, or 2 maybe.
like 4 at a time.
Okay.
Okay.
At Highland Rec, there's a lot of that
And
pickleball,
YMCA has,
and they have it too.
4 courts.
Great, there we go. It's the rage. It's evidently the fastest growing activity, sport. I didn't say that. So that's good. Okay, this is more technical, but it's an important project. So as we improve the roadways for our Orion Boulevard, all our streetscapes, we want to think about whether we want to make sure that the private side of each roadway is also upgraded in terms of the landscaping, is the parking lot design, is the lighting, the facade, is all of that being renovated. When we redevelop sites, most of this property is already developed. When we redevelop, is it coming in at a high enough treatment? So when that roadway gets improved, we want everything on the private side to also be a little higher standard. And so there's a study to figure out how to do that. We also want to think about when City Walk goes in, the properties along City Walk need to have the, sort of a consistent look and feel and higher standard. And so that project's getting ready to start. That's with Brian Fraser with planning. It's getting ready to go. Friends of Hickory Park, of course you know lots about that group and have been instrumental. It's been a great project for our club. So they're getting started. If you haven't participated yet with Leslie Scott and the mosaic tile art, I know they want people to sign up, so you can go to their website. But we're hoping to break ground in the next few weeks, and we're really working on the utilities and getting all that done. So there's the picture you might have seen. You know where this is, 3rd Street and Main Avenue, right in front of Community One Bank, right off the west side of Union Square. Try not to take too long. Sandy Ridge roundabouts. If you've been on a roundabout, you know, you think about it and you go, do I like this thing? Do I not? You know, I was in Raleigh yesterday and there are all those roundabouts around NC State. This is going to be a good thing for us. So I need you to talk up roundabouts. And to all your neighbors who give you the eye when you say you know about this project. We got a huge federal grant for congestion management to do intersection improvement at Sandy Ridge, 29th, which is the Lowe's Shopping Center, Family Video, all that. Then we thought, you know, then we tried to get ready to head into design, and what we were finding was all the utilities in that area were congesting that project to the point that it was not feasible to do the widening the way we wanted it to, and it would have been way too expensive. So our public services director, Chuck Hansen, had this aha moment and said, you know, we just need to do roundabouts. They're doing them all over the place. This is a great location. So $4.6 million of this project, of which our share is the 20% match, $900,000. And so this federal CMAQ congestion grant is what we're going to do. But here's what you want to look at is all right, so 2 roundabouts. Our most congested intersection in town at 4 to 6 p.m. hour is this Sandy Ridge and 29th. So it becomes a 2-lane roundabout. So continuous movement, it's good. And then it probably does create a little slowdown, but it doesn't create the stopping and the waiting and the cycle of the lights and all of that. It's less expensive to build, and it can be a nice landscaped feature that you look at. The second one, though, when we're doing this project, the second option are the grants to do a single lane roundabout at 21st and Sandy Ridge, which is, you know, where you would take and go toward the golf course if you were taking a right coming from the north. So both of those going through one at a time. I think it'll make traffic flow. We have gotten the grant, and that's moving forward. It's in design. So you have to start embracing the roundabouts. But people just don't know what to do with that. So I'm counting on you. All right, so then downtown gets a little work. We have 110-year-old sewer lines in the downtown. It's time to replace them. 1904, 1906 was a pipe that we found when we were doing the digging. It's a $3 million project. We have, this is one where if you're a business owner on Union Square, we're working with all of them to understand that their service will be not disrupted, but you know, we just have to do this replacement. So we've been working closely with the Downtown Association to know that we are needing to replace this, dig them up, Trade Alley in particular, and then of course some of the streets, and I'll show you that on the map. But this work needs to try to happen in the winter when you don't have the activity going on. But we have sanitary sewer, water, and stormwater lines that need to be replaced in that area. So here's our map. So let orient you, let's see, there's the community theater, of course this is Trade Alley. So everything in blue is a water line, and anyhow, what you need to know is that that's sort of the project scope, those 4 street sections, and some, you know, traffic management, some back service deliveries on Trade Alley that'll be interrupted slightly, and we have to work around that. Wayfinding. So wayfinding was the first project I worked on in 2007 when I started. And we are finally here to take bids we're receiving bids next week for the program. This is paid for out of the general fund, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you the picture. This is what I'm talking about. Coming back to it. Okay, so wayfinding is that signage you see in many communities. Go here to the salt block, go here to Lackey Park, go here, wherever, all of the public, we can't advertise people's businesses, but it's all the public destinations. Routing people from the interstate inward, and many of you 8 years ago helped me with that, trying to figure out the wording for the signage. So that's moving forward. Our gateways, which were a part of the original project, are now, of course, part of bonds, but this particular project will help enhance those gateways by keeping the public traveling into town and getting into the main parts of town, whether that's even on 70, whether that's up into Viewmont, just helping people get around. We always get picked on about our roadways, so this is a chance to solve some of that. So that contract gets considered in August. This is the style that they will look like. So they have, some architectural features that speak to the craftsman style. They have simple signage, really no more than 3 or 4 listed, and they point to all of our public facilities. They will point to downtown parking. So if it's in the downtown, it'll be like this. There's 3 different sizes. There's even interstate signage and bringing you into town. That's all I had.
Wow.
A lot of projects. There we go. Thank you for your listening. I can take questions, but I've probably run over. Sorry. Anybody have a question? Charles? Yes, sir.
Let me ask two, please.
Sir.
What is the water intake station or whatever?
Right?
Can you work around that with the walkway?
Yes.
That's not gonna be a problem?
No. It's far enough, it's low enough and far enough out. So he's speaking about where we draw in our water from the water treatment plant, which is right at the base of the 321 bridge. There's a pipe there, that's where your water comes from. But yes, the bridge, the walkway won't affect that.
Right, how much to get your walkway or bicycle way or whatever?
Right?
From downtown to 321 following the railroad,
Right.
how much cooperation do you have to have from the railroad?
Well, the railroad is private. That's the Caldwell County Rail line, and that's a gentleman, Mr. McGrady, owns that railroad, and he runs several trains a week. So it's a discussion that we have had and will be having with him about joint use, all of those things. But in the meantime, just to clarify, so in the meantime, the thought is that Old Lenore Road has a 10-foot multi-use path that will function as, it'll be a greenway in and of itself. So you could get from City Walk, and the Bond Commission worked on that, City Walk up 9th Street, which is at Piedmont Wagon, and then up Old Lenore Road, and then out to the 321. But the railroad is still a fun feature, and we still are wanting to work on it, but we needed 2 options. Thanks. Yes, sir. Clarence.
Andre, I didn't see an upgrade for Glen Hilton Park, or did I miss it?
That you didn't miss it. I just didn't have a slide for it, but that's a very important part. So parking in that area, is that in particular what you're thinking about? The extra parking at Glen Hilton?
That was Charlie Young's Rotary project many years ago, so he wanted me to ask.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was born, Clarence.
All right, I don't have an update except for that there is a new parking lot being added to deal with the on-street parking that's happening at Glen Hilton. And that parking lot's gonna help. And some safe pedestrian crossing and signalization as a result. That's being added, but as far as expanding the park, I'm not familiar with that. Steve and then John.
Are you still having good conversation with New Power?
Yes,
Some of the
on the Riverwalk? Yes. So we, the shoreline is owned by, well, the river is managed and owned, and the shoreline's protected, and Duke Energy has the say-so in how that design happens. And so, yes, as we hire a designer, take those designs, Duke Energy will have to be a seat at the table. Then we have to apply for what's called a FERC permit, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. They have to bless it, and that goes through 16 or 17 federal agencies. And once all those people are okay, then we're set. But yes, there's no bad news about that design. Even in the pre-engineering, we had Duke Energy taking a look at those designs. So, yes. And then John.
Thank you. The downtown utility improvements, will that strictly be related to water and sewer?
And stormwater.
Okay.
Yes. And under, no, water, sewer, stormwater, and some conduit for upgrading fiber. The ability to upgrade fiber in the downtown.
Okay, good. Yeah, I've heard of a couple of high-tech companies that want to locate in the downtown area, but they can't get high enough speed.
Right, we've heard that too,
connection.
so they're adding conduit for that. Yes, Bruce?
As you're tying together Glenn Hilton, Rotary Geithner, and JC, is there any plans for the beautification of that lovely kudzu garden that grows along 6th Street just east of Glenn Hilton?
Not in my scope right now, so I don't know how to answer that.
I don't have enough range.
Sorry. David?
Is the process to start like at Lenorine, where they go uptown and then come down toward Lenorine and then Lenorine, or is there
For the
a
city
set
hall?
way of, to get from there all the way to the river? In other words, where does Old Lenore Road hit?
Oh, Old Lenore Road, I wish I had the map. Old Lenore Road connects in with 9th. So 9th runs by United Beverage and then connects up that way. There's some segments of roadway that connect.
Will the process be, the first part that will be done will be from Lenorine to downtown?
Yes.
And then to 9th?
Yes.
So it'll be in that.
Yes, but that's the logical way to connect them. What may change is that as we do this, we are looking at grant opportunities. So if we get a grant and we need to put one in front of the other because of timing of the grant, that would affect it. But otherwise, that's the plan. And really, that we have only 7 years to get these, and possibly an extension of 3 more after that. But I like to think of it as 7. We got to get this stuff done. So it's all going to happen soon. Yes, sir.
Very little has been said about Old Lenore Road. It is my understanding that will become a 2-lane road with a turn lane.
Yes, sir.
And a greenway and.
Yes, sir.
And sidewalks.
Correct.
So Old Lenore Road will be greatly enhanced from a safety standpoint.
Yes, it will.
What it is now.
That's true.
It'd be a big change.
Yes. That's our project that's called a road diet, planning world. So we shrink, there you have 4 lanes and no turn lane, and you also have no sidewalk on Old Lenore Road. And so the thought is you don't need the 4 lanes as much because that's sort of a day gone by with the manufacturing. And so the travel patterns are different from that original design. So it's better to slow things down just a little bit. That road people drive pretty fast on that roadway. Make it safer, get the pedestrian. There are people that walk there, push a stroller in the street in some of those sections, and it's dangerous. So, yes, very much. That's a great project that's coming up.
Increase all those property values along there.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. That's my goal. I love that corridor. That is one of the main ways to get into Hickory. Think about coming from the mountains and 321. It's huge, so it needs some opportunity to have a new life about it. And I think that business association there in that area is anticipating some of that. So, thank you. Anybody else? Thank you much.
Thanks, Andrea, interim city manager. But great program, and I guess if people aren't excited about things happening in Hickory, I don't know what to tell you. All right, we've got 34 cards, 2 jokers. Took in $76. We're up to $1,249 today. So, Andrew, do you want to draw for us?
I didn't buy a ticket to this.
So you're clean?
Clean.
Nine, 5, 7 are the last 3. 9, 5, 7.
You read that right? Sure it's not 9, 7, 5.
Sorry, 9, 5, 7. Dan, draw us another one.
Hey, Avery's still looking.
Oh, so we're still looking back there. Hold on. You still got it? No dice? Don't forget your blue buckets in front of you. You're out. 9, 6, 3. President-elect. There was a steady parade of folks coming up here to congratulate Andrea, so she will, if you didn't get a chance, she'll be up here afterwards. You can congratulate her, and she's been signing autographs as well. Joker. I don't remember. What do you get? Half today's pot. Half today's.
No, it's all of today.
All of today's.
Yeah, all of today.
All of today's. All $76. I don't, Dan, you got that money on you now?
Yeah.
We'll be counting it out for you after the meeting. All right, let's close with the 4-way test. Dan carries that kind of cash around. Of the things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?